Hello and welcome to Brainstorming Basketball. My name is Arman, and if you already know me, you probably know that I have an unhealthy obsession with the NBA. And guess what? I know a lot of you do too. And this channel is dedicated for those basketball-obsessed junkies that are so sick and tired of the first take debates on who's the GOAT, who is the best player in the NBA right now. Listen, man, I really do not give a any of that, and I don't think a lot of you do either. Those regurgitated, recycled takes about what team would win between the 2016 Warriors and the 96 Bulls, I'm over it. And I think a lot of you would agree that it's getting old. If you are like me and you like to talk and think and brainstorm about the NBA, I hope this channel finds you. Because me, I don't care about who the best player is now so much as I care about what my team, the Chicago Bulls, are planning to do to return to relevancy. And I hope that this channel provides you, the viewer, an outlet to comment and to get engaged in conversation about different topics that I find interesting. And if you have ideas for topics, send them my way and I'll definitely be sure to make a video about them. So without further ado, let's get started. Today's topic with the first episode, I wanted to touch up on the 5 teams that I think have the bleakest future for the next 5 years, all right? So basically, this doesn't account for if a team wins the lottery or if a team somehow, gets a #1 pick. Obviously, that's going to change things. But for now, these are the 5 teams I think have the worst looking futures. All right, let's get started. Number 5, the Phoenix Suns. And I know what you're probably thinking, Phoenix, but they got Devin Booker. Yes, they do have a very, very talented star, borderline superstar in Devin Booker. But let me ask you one thing. What has Devin Booker really accomplished so far in the NBA? Now, I'm not faulting him because he is an extremely talented offensive player. I just want to see him be put on a winning team before I anoint him at that next level of stardom. Besides Booker, some other pros that they have going for them. Personally, I really like Cam Johnson. I think he's going to be a sensational shooter in the NBA, and I definitely think he'll have a role in the NBA. And I know a lot of people love Aaron Baines. He's going to be a free agent, so there's not much hope there. Other Suns pros, DeAndre Ayton, still a lot of hope for him, but what is he really? Is he a star? Does he have star potential? I went to a game one time, quick sidetrack, Clippers against Suns, and I watched and witnessed DeAndre Ayton, rookie DeAndre Ayton, get held to 0 points in the first half by Boban Marjanovic, and ever since then, my opinion of him has kind of soured. But he does have nights where he'll put up monster numbers and look like the freak that people thought he would be when he was drafted. Now let's get into the Phoenix Suns cons list, and this list is quite long. All right, number 1, this is going to be a common theme amongst bad teams: horrible ownership. Robert Sarver, there's been reports of him intimidating players on the sideline while the game is going on. There's been multiple reports of him just not being a good owner, treating employees poorly. Doesn't seem like a guy that I would want to work for. Second big con with the Suns, they're paying Ricky Rubio $17 million a year. Now I get it, Ricky Rubio isn't average, maybe slightly above average NBA point guard. He does things that other point guards maybe can't do in terms of passing the ball and in terms of defense. The Jazz definitely miss him right now. But at $17 million, that's a huge chunk of your cap space going into a mediocre player. And then another big con with the Suns, Kelly Oubre is going to be entering unrestricted free agency at the end of next year. And if Oubre's production this season is any indication, I think he's probably in line for a big raise. Now let's get on to the next team, number 4 team on my list. Drum roll please, it is the New York Knicks. Yes, Harry Liao, shout out to my friend Harry Liao, the Knicks fan. He told me that he thinks the Knicks should be number 1 on this list. And if their name was maybe a more obscure city like Indianapolis or Milwaukee or Detroit, no offense to any of those cities, if they were from any of those cities, they might be number one on the list. But the number one pro to being the New York Knicks, emphasis on New York, is that people want to live in New York City. They want to go to Knicks games. They want to be in the Garden. That atmosphere, that ambiance, it means something. It resonates to people to be affiliated with the Knicks. And it hasn't meant something in quite some time, but Amari Stoudemire in 2008, 2009 did end up leaving a situation that was very beneficial to him in Phoenix to go chase the stardom in New York City. And not soon after, Carmelo Anthony followed suit. Who's to say that two new stars won't do the same thing for the Knicks one day soon? It's very possible. Another big pro for the Knicks is that RJ Barrett and Mitchell Robinson look like guys that you can somewhat build around. Now, I don't want to get too blasphemous in praising these two because they have a lot of work to do, especially Mitchell Robinson. Mitchell Robinson has a fouling problem. He fouls way too much. RJ has his moments where he looks like he's the roughest, toughest rookie in the league, and then he has moments where he literally looks like he forgot how to shoot a basketball, right? And I know Knicks fans love Frank Ntilikina. I was thinking about putting him on the pros list, but really, I can't do that because Ntilikina, I think Knicks fans sometimes get lost in translation of what reality is. Ntilikina realistically is a dime a dozen NBA point guard, so he's not going to be on the pros list. Cons list, what did I just say about the Phoenix Suns? Ownership, ownership, ownership. Number one reason I don't trust the Knicks, James Dolan. It is very, very, very possible that if they had me as the owner or any other clown as the owner not named James Dolan, Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving might be New York Knicks right now, right? They probably chose the Nets because of ownership. That's the number one reason. Number two, look at their roster. Besides RJ Barrett, besides Mitchell Robinson, how many other guys can we really say when we look at their roster, yeah, that's a guy that I can build a team with. That's a guy I want on my roster. Personally, I don't see any. Maybe Julius Randle, but at $18 million a year, we all, if you're a basketball junkie, you probably know Julius Randle is one of those black hole players where he just gets tunnel vision, puts his head down, and usually makes bad decisions. He did have a very good year with New Orleans, but since then, he hasn't really shown me that he deserves that contract, right? The Knicks don't have any real building blocks. And the last con that I have to mention with the Knicks, they have not re-signed a first-round pick in more than 20 years. Again, with ownership. These are signs of a team that is dysfunctional and that does not know how to win. But I am praying for my New York friends because I want to see the Knicks be good. The NBA is more fun when the Knicks are good. That's factual to me. The Knicks make basketball fun. So please, James Dolan, either sell the team or find a way to make the Knicks relevant again because, damn it, we deserve it. We deserve it. NBA fans, we deserve it. All right, let's get on to number 3. The Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, if you're a Cleveland sports fan, you've been spoiled the past 5 years. You saw the Indians almost win a World Series just to lose to my beloved Cubs. And then you saw LeBron James give you guys a championship. Life is good. Cleveland, as Joakim Noah would say, Cleveland, what's there to do in Cleveland? There's nothing fun about Cleveland. You really want to go to Cleveland on vacation? I agree, Joakim. And with that being said, let's get into the pros on why I think the Cavs might have a little bit better of a future than we think. Number one reason, they have solid young pieces, right? Now, what their potential upside is to be determined, but Colin Sexton, Darius Garland, Kevin Porter Jr., Dylan Windler, who we didn't get to see this year, but I'm big on. He's a big-time scorer out of Belmont. I think those four are at least pieces to kind of start to build around. All right, now we have something to build on. The number 2 big pro that Cleveland has that some of the other teams on this list don't have, they have tradable contracts. Cedi Osman, he's making $8 million a year. I'm sure a contender could probably talk themselves into him as a piece off their bench. Kevin Love, big contract, probably can't get much for him, but you probably could get a little something, maybe a little take on a bad contract and maybe a pick. It's possible to get something for Kevin Love. Other than that though, you look around Cleveland, what have they really done roster-wise to make you feel like they have a chance to really build something for the future? They have a point guard in Garland who I liked a lot in the draft, but showed that he might be defensively challenged and offensively limited. I mean, if that's the case, what is there really to be excited for if you're a Cleveland sports fan? Not only that, the cons list goes further than that. They are in the Cleveland market, and unlike the New York City market, Cleveland is not going to attract many free agents. You're not going to have any LeBron Jameses deciding, hey, I want to go back home and play for Cleveland anytime soon, right? They do have a little bit of cap space once the Kevin Love contract is up, but that's still far, far away. And in the near future, I don't see any real path to true contendership for Cleveland. All right, moving on. The number 2 team on my list of bleakest futures, the Detroit Pistons. And this one, it's hard for me to do this because they have done a lot of things right recently. Namely, they have won on the margins, as we say. They have added talent on the outskirts of their roster that looks like it is actual talent. Christian Wood, Svi Mikhailuk, Derrick Rose, Luke Kennard. Maybe it's a start of something there, but more likely than not, in this league, you must have superstar talent to win. And when you look at the Pistons roster, not only are they hampered by Blake Griffin's contract, they don't have any resemblance of a guy that can turn even into a star right now. Now, if you're a basketball junkie, you notice Sekou Doumbouya did have some moments there, their first round pick, where he looked like, whoa, could this kid turn into maybe a baby, this is gonna sound a little bit blasphemous, but Pascal Siakam light type player? He did show those flashes, but at other times, he looked like a guy who is completely lost. And that's scary because he kind of has the whole franchise on his back right now. There's rumors that the Pistons are very, very keen on LaMelo Ball and that they want to find a way to acquire him in this year's draft. And if that's the case, then there is some potential for a brighter future in Detroit. Again, one star for any of these teams can change everything. I think good again. When the Pistons are good, that building, even though it's not the Palace anymore, it gets popping, it gets rocking. I love when the announcer says, Detroit basketball. It's one of the best sounds in the NBA. I want to hear that again, but right now, I don't really see a path to the Pistons getting there, not anytime soon at least. And that leads us to the number 1 team with the bleakest future in the NBA. And if you're a fan of this guy right behind me right here, you already know, yeah, as a basketball player, he's an animal. I mean, we're not going to get into GOAT talks on this channel. He is my GOAT though. As an owner, he's the exact opposite. He has done so many things wrong with the Charlotte Hornets, who are the number 1 bleakest future in the league. Take it back to when they were the Charlotte Bobcats. They had the worst record in NBA history, going 7-59. Now, what has Michael Jordan truly accomplished as an owner besides getting a 7 seed once every couple years? If he didn't have Kemba Walker, there's a real chance that the Hornets / Bobcats might have been the bleakest team ever from any sport, right? let's look at the pros for the Hornets really quickly. First pro, James Borrego. He seems like he knows what he's doing as a coach. He seems like a good, smart basketball mind. He made a lot of guys who might not have looked that good in other teams and in other systems look pretty decent. Namely, Devontae Graham. Devontae Graham was a great find by Mitch Kupchak and their management. He started off the year really hot, but as the season went along, he tailspun to the ground. And he couldn't really, there's so many nights when I looked at the box scores and Devontae Graham shot 5 of 15, 2 of 8 from 3. I mean, is that really a guy that's going to be your starting point guard or shooting guard for the future? If it is, your cap is probably like an 8 seed, right? Let's look at other pros of the Hornets. Miles Bridges and PJ Washington, they showed some flashes. PJ especially. PJ, in the first game of the season against my beloved Bulls, went off. I believe he hit 7 3-pointers in the game, and he looked like a guy that might surprise people after he dipped in the NBA draft last summer. But is he really versatile enough to play the 5 in the NBA, to guard the pick and roll, to guard bigs in the post? Can he do that kind of stuff? I don't think he can. But he's young and he has promise, especially offensively. They do not have any guys who I look at on their roster and go, that guy can be a star. That guy is a guy I want to build my team around. That guy is a guy that I even want in my starting lineup, right? Do you see anybody on the Charlotte Hornets and say that guy can start on a championship team? I do not personally see one guy in that category. And that is the number one reason why the Hornets are the team I would least want to be moving forward. Alright everybody, that's going to do it for today's episode of Brainstorming Basketball. I hope you guys enjoyed this kind of content. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe right down below. I'm going to be giving you guys a lot more content like this in the near future. And if you disagree with anything I said, please let me know. This is what this channel is going to be about. It's about a conversation between basketball fans. And that's the biggest thing that I want to get out of this. So thank you again. And until next time, Arman out.